Hi guys, it's Friday today, Friday lunchtime. So I've not eaten anything yet today, which is perfectly normal for me. Oh my goodness, it's not lunchtime. It's only 11:15. Well, I'm eating now. I thought it was a lot later. But anyway, I've got my stew that you saw me make yesterday, and I'm gonna just have that with some sourdough. Let's have a look. And just as importantly, a smell. Oh yeah. So that was in the slow cooker all evening. And it's basically exactly what you saw me make yesterday. The only thing I added was a few potatoes that were left over at the end of dinner last night. And I'm really looking forward to this. So it looks like I've got some beetroot, some carrot and some onion on there. Oh. Yeah. This is, with the spice of that chili as well. This is what I've been waiting for 2 days. When I cook, I'm huge on flavors. I have really quite strong, punchy flavors in a lot of my food. And up until now, I've had quite bland stuff. You know, as much as I enjoy potatoes and meat and veg, and that's great, unless you're doing a really, intricate gravy, it can be quite bland. And that's why, well, I don't know if I'm just speaking for myself, but that's why I assume a lot of people put so much, salt and pepper on a meal like that when it is like meat and potatoes. And obviously, that's what I've really missed is that seasoning, and it's not missing from here at all. Yeah, so this is my first meal with garlic and chilies in for 3 days, which is quite a long time for me to go without garlic. I don't know why I wasn't using garlic earlier. I think I just, a lot of it's going to come down to time. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. So the time to process all the food is a lot longer than if you can use, just quick shop-bought ingredients. And as much as I'm all about self-sufficiency and I talk about it all the time, we still buy food in a shop to, subsidize what we do. When the time involved in getting some salt is what it is for me at the moment, it makes you really judicious about how much you're going to use in anything. And, the same applies across the board. But garlic is one I could have been using. But again, I've been quite busy in the times that I've had to fit in my cooking, which is why yesterday was nice to get this done. And tomorrow is Saturday. And I think I'm planning to be at home over the weekend for both days, which is awesome. So, you'll be seeing a lot more variation in the things I'm going to be eating and the time I've got to mess about with stuff. I didn't get that plum sauce made yesterday. I've got the plums harvested off the tree that's next door to that pear tree that you saw my son go up. We've got some plums and I want to make a plum sauce, which I thought I was going to do yesterday. Didn't get time. We'll definitely do that over the weekend. This is really good. Really enjoying it. So yesterday I showed you my goats, and that's where we get all our dairy. Well, obviously you've seen me eat quite a lot of pork. So we're not breeding pigs at the moment. As regular viewers will know, we had to get rid of our pigs some time ago. We're also moving. We're moving house. And we're not sure where to yet, but we have to move. We have to move out of the house we're in. So we had to get rid of our pigs. So it meant that all my breeding program and everything went out the window. Effectively, I had to slaughter and butcher 3 pigs in just a couple of months. So we've got an absolute raft of pork. We've got 3 pigs worth of pork in our freezers, which would normally be enough to last us about 18 months. So that's why I'm eating so much pork, but it's also where our pork has come from. And, there's loads of videos on my channel talking about that if that's something you're interested in. But I do all of the slaughtering and butchering and curing and everything myself to make my own hams and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's how we get our pork. So I do not all of the cooking for our family, but, the majority of it. And not in September, however. My wife's having to do a lot more because I'm mainly cooking for myself because I'm being really miserly with things like salt. Anyway, that's by the by. What I was going to say was, generally with my cooking, I tend to cook in big batches and we'll cook enough to feed my whole family probably 4 times. So if I cook a meal, we'll have the meal that night. We'll also have it again later in that week, a few days later, and that'll be half of what I cook. And the other half we'd freeze and then defrost and have twice more in another week. So it's just a great way of conserving time, of doing 4 evenings worth of cooking in, a couple of hours or whatever it might be. Well, this being in the slow cooker is awesome. So first of all, in the slow cooker, I cannot tell you the enhancement the flavors get, the flavors of all of the veg, like the carrot and the beetroot and everything. They come out and they meld with everything else that's in there. The same with all the spices and the garlic and what have you. So that's great. But also now I'll be able to have this tomorrow lunchtime probably, and there's a massive amount. So I'll actually be able to freeze some, crack it out in a week or two's time and have it later in the month. And that's just gold. That's just gold. And that's what I didn't have going into this challenge. So on days 1 and 2, that's probably why I was eating fairly bland food, because I didn't have that time to kind of build up a head of steam and get ahead of myself. Whereas now I kind of feel that I'm getting there. And over the next few days and weeks, hopefully my food will actually look even more appealing and more varied. And that's what I'm hoping for, because what I want this to be, I don't want this to be a month of, oh, you know, I'm eating scrambled eggs on toast again. I'll be eating plenty of scrambled eggs on toast, I'm sure, this month, because I enjoy it. But what I don't want it to be is like, you know, here's a month of me eating scrambled eggs on toast and complaining about it, because I want this to be a celebration. I want this to be a celebration of what can be achieved with, you know, not a huge amount of space. I have a massive amount of space, and I'm very, very privileged to have that. But realistically, for this challenge, all I'm really using is my vegetable garden, which is the size of an allotment or two, and our pork and our milk from our goats. So it's a lot of space compared to most people. But, you know, you can take the vegetable garden portion of that and you can translate that into a lot of gardens or allotments. But the idea is it's achievable, and it's achievable to a standard that's really nice and varied. So that's what I really want this month to be, is a celebration of what self-sufficient food can be. And that's not to say there won't be struggles and there aren't struggles, because there's already things that I know are really difficult for me sometimes, but it's mainly focused around drinks. And I think, to be fair, I will talk about that a bit more on another video, because I've got a lot of things I want to say, as I said yesterday, but I've got a whole month to say them in. So I think I'll spread them out. For now, I'm going to get back to this delicious stew, which I'm just super, super thrilled with. Okay, so I've just got home from work and I'm super hungry, so I'm just making myself some scrambled eggs on sourdough. I think it's where I had that stew a little bit earlier than I thought it was. I'm hungry earlier than I otherwise might be, so I'm having it before I go out and milk the goats. But it's going to be super, super simple. Just 3 scrambled eggs, some sourdough toast in there, which wants a little bit longer, and then some goat's butter. And then that's it. That's me sorted. I'll probably have something else before I go to bed. Maybe. See how we feel. See how full I am after this, because it is quite a filling meal. Here's my goat's butter. Yeah, scrambled egg on sourdough toast. Bit of a staple here. I'm easing up a little bit on my salt, as in I'm being a little bit more liberal with it, because I've resigned myself to the fact I'm going to have to go and get some more and make some more. So I may as well enjoy what I've got. So I've put a little bit more salt in. Well, I put the normal amount of salt in that I would normally have, whereas I've been quite miserly thus far. I've decided I'm going to make a trip to the coast, certainly because I want some more seawater to make salt, but also we're going to do some foraging for mussels and things like that at some point. So all good stuff to come. Oh, and I completely forgot to say, another reason why I'm a little bit more hungry than I planned to be this early is because, look at that, is because the sourdough I took with me to have with my stew today was a little bit mouldy, so I couldn't eat it. Left it too long in the bread bin. Anyway, that's come back, and that will go to the animals. Well, that was a complete disappointment. Awful food. Basically, the butter has gone off, and it had a horrible taste to it. I tasted it on my first bite, and I don't have any more, because my thinking was that that little pot would have lasted me a good week or two, because I don't eat a tremendous amount of it, almost none. And that would have given me time to build up some more cream from our milk to make some more. And of course, in the run up to this September challenge, I was saving that. We didn't use any of that. You know, I was purposely saving it, so I haven't been near it for a few weeks, and it's just, it's turned. And Obviously, in a normal circumstance, we would just go in the fridge and use the regular, you know, the shop bought equivalent. And, or alternatively, I'd have been using it, you know, and it wouldn't have gone off and I would have made more by the time it was spent, but that's not happened. And now I don't have time. Obviously, I can't make any more immediately, and that's fine. That's all fine. We can live without butter, of course we can. And, but it meant that I had to cook more sourdough, and by the time that was cooked, the eggs were cold, and then I had them on dry toast, which again is fine. I don't mind them like that, but it's just not as nice, not as delicious, and the eggs were cold. So yeah, just a little bit underwhelming, and it's all comes from forethought and planning. And you know, to eat like this, you really need to have your game on all the time, planning ahead. You know, things like, you know, because you're juggling preserving stuff, you're juggling making stuff, and in the case of butter, just as one example, you know, to make butter, that's like a week or two worth of process to get the butter, because we save the cream from the milk, and we save a little bit every day, and then after a week or two, we've got enough to make a little bit of butter, which would last a week or two. And I've not been doing that, thinking that I had something and I had a head start, and when I didn't, I had the opposite. So that's a bit of a knockback, and ever onwards. And I'm still hungry. But that's okay, we've got plenty of food. I'm not gonna go hungry. It's just, yeah, a little bit disappointing. But what's not disappointing is this. And this is milk, goat's milk, with just a tiny bit of honey in it, not very much. And oh my goodness, this is my favorite thing at the moment. I look forward to this so much. I'm trying to ration the honey, so we're gonna start putting a little bit less honey and see how far we can go to eke it out. But this is just a real treat, a real treat. Okay, so I'm having some pear juice, which is delightful. And I'm doing my second round of eggs on toast because both my boys are also having that for dinner this evening. So I'm cooking them some eggs on sourdough toast, and I'm gonna make myself a little bit more because the last lot was a real disappointment. I'm still a little bit hungry. And that's gonna do me for today, I think. I'm just gonna have another one piece of toast and a couple of eggs, and that'll do me. No butter, unfortunately. So I'm gonna be without butter for at least 3 or 4 days while I save up some cream. I think I'll manage because I think we've got the weekend coming up, so it gives me some time to mess about and do some other things. Tomorrow probably is gonna be goat's cheese for lunch with crackers or sourdough or something, and I don't need spread for that. Don't need to spread anything on there because it's a soft goat's cheese that I make predominantly. And yeah, that's tomorrow taken care of. So there's a few like topics that I've got things to say about, but I won't swamp this video with any more than I've already discussed. But I did record my weight at the start of the month, and I think I'll probably talk to you about that tomorrow, what my thoughts are. But generally, like a concluding thought for today is that this month's going to be a little bit harder than I thought. There are gradations of difficulty, and you know, it's not going to be earth-shattering. I'm going to cope. I'm not going to starve. I'm going to eat very, very well. I'm going to eat probably better than, you know, half of the world's population. But for me, some of the struggles and things that I'm not used to are, you know, they're going to be a little bit harder than I thought. So, you know, I want to talk to you on another video. Maybe we'll talk about vices, because there's a couple of things that I'm really missing a lot more than I thought I would. So yeah, that's all to come. Anyway, that's going to wrap this one up, and I will speak to you tomorrow, by which time we'll have got through another day, and I'll have drunk a lot of milk and honey this evening, and everything else that I'm doing now is my new regular activities that I'd never done before. Anyway, there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you do all those good things. Press that like button, please. leave me a comment down below, and if you're not already, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching ever so much. Really appreciate it, and I'll speak to you really soon. Cheers.